Your Friendly Neighborhood Spider-Man's third, fourth, and fifth episodes are now available on Disney+. You can go and watch them, and if you've already watched them, so well, let's talk about it. In the second episode, at the end, we saw that Norman Osborn found out that Peter Parker is Spider-Man, but Norman Osborn tells Peter that his secret is safe with him, and he won't tell anyone about it. Now, the next day, we see Peter with Nico, who is angry at him because she invited Peter to the party, but Peter couldn't make it. We all know that he was fighting that fiery villain, Boutin, at the time, but Peter was still quite upset that Norman found out about him. Now Norman invites Peter to dinner, where Peter tells Norman that he isn't Spider-Man and that maybe someone pranked him. But now these excuses are useless because Norman already knows the truth. He knows that Peter is Spider-Man. Norman says that ever since Spider-Man saved my son Harry's life, I have been looking for Spider-Man, which is why I created this internship program to find out who the genius behind the suit is, and it was Peter Parker. Now, Norman tells Peter that he wants to help him because Peter saved his son Harry's life. Peter appreciates the offer but says that he wants to do everything himself, and he wants to figure out why he has these powers, not someone else who could become the next Captain America. So, Captain America is mentioned here too. He tells Norman that he doesn't want Norman's help, which could put him in danger as well, and he talks about leaving the Oscorp internship. But in the end, Norman convinces him to stay. The couple we see at the end, actually Speed Demon and Tarantula from the comics, has super speed and deadly blades, respectively. They got these abilities through technology. At Peter's house, while selling some old items in the art room, we see Uncle Ben's bowling t-shirt, and there's also an old camera that Peter keeps. Now, the next day, when Peter and Lonnie are having lunch at school, Lonnie gets an emergency call from home that her younger brother Andre has been caught causing trouble with the 110th Street gang in a building. Now, we see Maria and James committing a robbery in a jewelry store, and nearby, Peter is taking pictures with Uncle Ben's camera. Peter finds out about them and goes there to fight. Speed Demon and Tarantula use their speed, hand-to-hand combat, martial arts, and weapons to knock Peter down. Just then, Norman hacks Peter's suit and tells him to attack their weaknesses. Peter notices an infinity symbol on Speed Demon's boots, which forms an 8 in the sideways, and the same symbol was also on Boutin's flamethrower. This means that someone is providing tech for all these villains. So, Peter decides to take Norman's help and knock down these villains, and in the end, he defeats both of them. Meanwhile, Lonnie finds out that his brother is hiding out with the gang, so he goes there and requests to free his brother, but they say no, that he is a member of their gang, and they won't let him go. Lonnie says, "Let my brother go and take me in his place." The gang leader, Big Don, accepts the offer, and Lonnie joins the 110th Street gang. Now, Peter Parker and Norman Osborn start working together. Now, guys, in the fourth episode, Norman Osborn calls Peter to his office and shows a news broadcast on TV showing the MCU's Civil War event. The news on TV is reporting that all superpowered individuals will have to register under the Sokovia Accords, and the scene from the German airport fight is being shown on the screen, where Ant-Man captures Iron Man, Bucky is also there, Captain America is present, and the news is saying that Captain America and Bucky have gone on the run. But Norman promises Peter that he won't have to register under the Sokovia Accords. Peter shows Norman some sketches of his new suit, where you can see a traditional blue and red suit. But Norman has already prepared a yellow, blue, and red cape suit for him, which is definitely inspired by the comics. However, Peter looks at it and says, "I'm not Thor." At this moment, Lonnie gets a call from his gang that he has to come to the hideout because scorpions are coming into their area. And here, we see that Spider-Man's first suit doesn't turn out to be that effective. Now, we move on to the second suit, which is obviously inspired by Marvel supervillain The Beetle, but it doesn't work either. Finally, we get to the third suit, which is completely black and even has wings. But it is quite intimidating, and even a child gets scared of it. Here, the gang leader Big Don sends Lonnie to the Scorpions' territory to bring food. During this time, we see Carmilla Black, who was once one of the Scorpions in the comics, confronting Lonnie. But Lonnie manages to escape. However, Carmilla mentions that Mac Gargan, the original Scorpion and leader of the Scorpion gang, is coming to teach them a lesson. In the comics, both Carmilla and Mac were part of the Scorpions, and now they're in the same team. Meanwhile, Norman Osborn is annoyed by the Avengers and their superhero antics. He wants heroes who can take responsibility for their actions. So he tells Peter that they'll make Spider-Man the new generation superhero. But Peter is a little scared that he might not meet Norman Osborn's expectations. During this conversation, Norman talks about the gamma-fueled rampage that the Avengers caused, referencing the events from The Incredible Hulk and Age of Ultron. The newspapers are reporting all the bad things the Avengers have done, which is why Norman wants to make Spider-Man a better superhero for the new generation. Then we see Peter in his white and blue suit, which is inspired by the Future Foundation suit from the comics. Just then, we see 4 villains, Mikhail, Dimitri, Mila, and Roxana, stealing something. They mention that to get here, they defeated the Tracksuit Mafia, which we saw in the Hawkeye series. The police manage to catch all of them, but Mila escapes. Among these 4 villains, Mikhail is actually the Spider-Man villain Rhino's dad, Dimitri is another Spider-Man villain, Kalian, and Mila is a female version of Spider-Man villain, Milos Unicorn. So, all these characters are connected to Spider-Man, they're not new. Mila goes to meet a person who was supposed to give her upgraded tech, and this person turns out to be none other than Dr. Otto Octavius. Spider-Man, injured from driving his own villains, helps these people and returns to Oscorp. There, he removes his mask to meet Norman Osborn, but Harry is also there and sees him, so Harry now knows that Peter is Spider-Man. At the beginning of the 5th episode, Doc Ock tells Mila that he doesn't sell weapons, but rather enhancements, and gives her a specialized helmet. Doc Ock works in a warehouse with his assistant, Vincent Petal, who is also a Spider-Man villain known as Leapfrog. But here, Doc Ock's main goal is to become more famous than Tony Stark, Bruce Banner, and Norman Osborn. Since Harry saw Peter in his Spider-Man suit, Norman now includes Harry in his team. Harry says, "I could be Peter's guy at the desk." In the MCU, Ned is Peter's guy in the chair. The next day, when Peter goes to school with Harry in his car, everyone is shocked because Peter has become friends with such a big social media influencer. But Loney is facing a lot of trouble at school because he's rarely there. His football coach talks to him about it, and his girlfriend Pearl is also very worried about him. However, he brushes them off, saying it's a family emergency. But in reality, he's getting deeper into the gang. Nico talks to Peter about the Civil War Iron Man versus Captain America fight and says, "I'm not a fan of Iron Man, but I think Captain America is also not right in this." But in this universe, we find out that Peter is a huge Captain America fan. However, Loney gets another call from his gang, asking for his help, so he leaves school and heads there. Harry tells Peter, "I want to add red and blue to your suit like Captain America," showing that Harry is also a big fan of Captain America. Meanwhile, Mila, with her helmet, goes to break her friends out of prison. Roxana sees her and says, "You look like Rhino," but Mila replies, "No, like Unicorn." So, Unicorn is a female character in this show. After that, Roxana and Dimitri escape, but Mikhail stays behind to help Mila because Spider-Man is coming to stop them. A fight breaks out between Mila and Spider-Man. Mila gets frustrated and attacks Mikhail, hoping Spider-Man will come to his rescue so she can kill him. Peter ends up saving Mikhail and takes the hit for him. Just as Mila is about to kill Spider-Man, Mikhail helps Spider-Man and saves his life. Spider-Man then takes Mila's unicorn helmet and webbing it to her, allowing the police to arrest both her and Mikhail. Mikhail tells Spider-Man, "Just because you saved my life doesn't mean I'll let you go. If I see you again, I'll kill you." On the other side, there's a fight between the 110 and Scorpion Gang. During this fight, Loney saves Big Don's life when Mac Gargan was about to stab him. Big Don is impressed by Loney's actions and names him Tombstone, which is Loney's comic-accurate name, and eventually makes him a major villain for Spider-Man.